here. Poulos.
Here.
Poulos here. Johnson.
Here.
Johnson here. Frausto.
Here.
Frausto here. Villado.
Here.
Villado here. Vieta.
Here.
Vieta here. Rita.
Here.
Rita here. Donahue.
Here.
Donahue here. Holly.
Here.
Holly here. Farnwell.
Here.
Farnwell here. Osling.
Here.
Osling here. Thompson.
Here.
Thompson here. 14 present.
Thank you very much. Presentation of general proceedings, we're just dealing with the first motion this evening. Motion to approve the special meeting minutes for the date of September the 27th, 2017. Do I have a motion? Alderman Poulos, second Alderman Vieira. Roll call.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Pittman.
Aye.
Pittman, aye. Slattery.
Aye.
Slattery, aye. Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Frausto.
Aye.
Frausto, aye. Villado.
Aye.
Villado, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Donahue.
Aye.
Donahue, aye. Holly.
Aye.
Holly, aye. Farnwell.
Aye.
Farnwell, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 14 minutes.
Thank you very much. Could I have a Jake Hoffman come to the podium, please? And do we have family members? Can also come on up. And we have Director Rita. Why don't we do this? We're going to swing you around. Right, let me see. You're going to stand right there. Come on up. Stand behind him. And I'm going to give this. Oh, that's it. Pin it up. All right. I'm going to repeat after I say. I need you to raise your right hand, please. All right, here we go. I state your name,
Jake Hoffman,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of firefighter,
to the office of firefighter,
City of Blue Island,
City of Blue Island,
County of Cook,
County of Cook,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
the office
the office
of the fire department
of the fire department
in the City of Blue Island,
in the City of Blue Island,
County of Cook,
County of Cook,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Sure, right? Yeah.
Let's take a group shot, everybody. Let me stand here.
Face me over here, please.
We'll face them.
Overlap whatever you can.
Good?
Help me with that.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Go ahead. Public comment? Yes.
4 years ago, we came together as a team to build a better Blue Island. During those 4 years, we accomplished many things. We opened 2 bridges, negotiated a deal to redevelop the old Jewel property, created a Western Avenue business district so that we could reinvest in the community that I grew up in and I love. Those are just to name a few. Overall, things were going pretty good. Progress was continuing, so I decided to run for city clerk again. After a successful campaign for all of us, I was excited for the opportunity to be part of continuing Blue Island's progress forward in the 4 years. Suddenly, a drastic change occurred in the operations of the city. The regular weekly director meetings ceased. They were with the new mayor, Carmine, the directors, the been zero communication with senior staff for going on 6 months now. Repeated requests to meet have been ignored. We are starting to see the results of this lack of communication, most recently with the possible grocery store interested in opening in the old Walgreens building, which is supposed to be on tonight's agenda. Mayor Vargas, you have completely changed. Your refusal to work as a team. If this continues, all our forward progress will come to a halt. In addition, I believe your current approach to decisions is exposing the citizens of this city to expensive litigation, and I urge you to reconsider. The time to collaborate is now in a meaningful way with the staff and your fellow elected officials, so we can gain progress towards building a better life.
Thank you much.
Mayor, did we approve the city council meeting from minutes from October 10th? Or did
The
we
city
just do
clerk
it
wasn't
first?
ready to do that, so
We
he
have
doesn't
not.
want it to be done too. No. Name and
Nancy
address.
Manderville at 13427 Mozart Street in Blue Island. I don't pretend to understand all the complexities of running the city council and the government and the jobs that you have. I respect each and every one of you for taking your time to put yourselves here to make our town function. But I would like to say that I would like to see some support for the mayor when he has to make some choices on people he wants in positions that he can have the option to make a decision on. And I feel that it would be helpful because it would help him in being able to move us forward. But I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Name and address.
Carol DePace Green, 2731 Orchard Street, Blue Islands. Already a new debate is underway regarding how to get our precious tax dollars back. There was a hiring freeze put in place more than 6 months ago, yet there are positions that have been filled. There are things going on that should not be taking place. And so there are concerns from the taxpayers. We have committee meetings taking place where we have coaching and steering going on by Carmen Bellato and John Rita, and checking with the state's attorney's office. These activities not only should not take place, they're also considered influence peddling, which is a crime. And I brought that up in committee meetings. Tonight's meeting, I got there too late to explain, what some of these things are that are going on. Certainly, Carmine and John should be present to answer questions, but they should not be coaching or steering the committees in any direction in which they should go. I'd like to see some of that stuff stopped. I would like to see qualified people put in place. Everyone has seen Simplex throughout the city going around flushing fire hydrants. That was something that once upon a time was done by the water department, personnel. When they would paint the fire hydrants, they would also flush them. There's a considerable water loss. I didn't hear anything in the meeting tonight about that water loss being disputed. And that would be one of the first steps to getting a correction with the city of Chicago. So I hope that we can get some really qualified people in place. And I certainly did have more than one conversation regarding the previous mayor not increasing the water rate, the base rate of $3, or the sewer rate. And, as I said, we don't have the regulations or the state statutes yet to determine whether or not that's something that really can or should even be done. And until we find out what is actually going on, I think we should look for the state statutes and the regulations and follow them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? And move on. Report of city officials, presentations, and resolutions. First one.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel matters.
Second.
The first and second.
What is the purpose of the personnel matter?
Discuss attorney hiring and firing.
That's what we're doing here?
We can do an open session?
Yes, sir.
Can we do it in closed session?
We did a first and a second. Point of order. There's a motion made and seconded.
The motion was on the floor.
Roll call.
I got another question. On the roll call, we're asking to go into executive session, correct, Mayor? So an I would be going into executive session?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Carr.
Aye.
Carr, aye. Pittman.
Aye.
Pittman, aye. Slattery.
Aye.
Slattery, aye. Goulos.
Aye.
Goulos, aye. Johnson.
No.
Johnson, no. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Bellato.
Aye.
Bellato, aye. Vieta.
No.
Vieta, no. Rita.
Aye.
Rita, aye. Donahue.
Aye.
Donahue, aye. Holly.
No.
Holly, no. Farnwell.
No.
Farnwell, no. Osling.
No.
Osling, no. Thompson.
No.
Thompson, no.
Okay. Go into executive session. Just call.
Yeah, I think that's okay. And then we gotta find out if we don't need it. Read by the board. All aboard the election. Yeah, I'll get here. There's the kind of walk going down. I don't think even got the election for that.
Carr.
Point of order. This is just a reopen session?
Yes.
Okay.
Carr.
Here.
Carr here. Pittman.
Here.
Pittman here. Slattery.
Aye.
Slattery here. Goulos.
Aye.
Goulos here. Johnson. Johnson here. Frausto.
Here.
Frausto here. Bellato.
Aye. Here.
Bellato here. Vieta.
Here.
Vieta here. Rita.
Here.
Here. Donahue.
Here.
Donahue here. Holly.
Here.
Holly here. Farnwell.
Here.
Farnwell here. Osling. Osling here. Thompson. Thompson here. 14,000.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session inviting John, Rita, and Shantae Ranks.
Second.
We're out of order. We're going to continue with the agenda that was posted and made public. We're going to continue with the agenda.
This is a point of order. I made a motion.
Motion was seconded.
Yeah,
All
motion was
they do is
seconded.
make point of order.
Ruled out of
That's
order.
all they do.
I make another motion. Make a motion.
Second.
The agenda will go as follows. Report of removal of appointed office, city attorney. On October the 19th, this is a little bit more in detail to the council. On October the 19th, 2017, I acted pursuant to state statute to remove the law firm of Sanchez, Daniels, and Hoffman, LLP, from serving in this position as city attorney. My reasons for the removal, as stated in the written document provided to the city council, are as follows. 1, I lost confidence in the attorney-client relationship with the law firm. 2, I also lost the confidence to know legal advice is coming directly to my office from the lawyers. Number 2, I reported my reasons for removal, and I would like at this time to move to item number 2 and appoint the law firm of Olson Sturk Limited to serve as city attorney.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to disapprove your removal
You're out
of
of
city
order.
attorney.
Second.
Alderman, you're out of order. Can I have a motion to approve the appointment of Olson Sturk Limited as city attorney? Do I have a motion? Motion by Alderman Guerra, second by Alderman Fairwell. Roll call, please.
Question, I have a question, Mayor. Can you read us the letter that you sent Alderman, or not, Attorney Shantae Raines? Because I believe it's quite different than the letter you gave us. And the reason why she was,
That letter was just with the law firm, and it was just basically within them, and not to anyone else.
Can you please, can Ms. Raines read the letter that you sent her about why she was fired?
Who's running this council?
What I have reported is what I've been required by statute.
Shantae, give me the letter, please. I'll read it.
By statute, I sent them the notice, and they got the notice.
Okay, I just want for the record to be clear, what you provided us is different than you provided Ms. Raines, and I would like that to be read into the record, please.
You're out of order, sir.
I'm not out of order. I have the floor, and I'm going to read the letter that you gave Ms. Raines and why she was fired.
We got a motion, we got a second, roll call.
I still have the floor. You recognize me? I have the floor, Mayor.
You're out of order.
I'm not out of order. I have the floor. You recognize me as the person who has the floor. This was the letter you sent her. Dear Council, the City Attorney is appointed office, City of Blue Island. As Mayor of the City of Blue Island, I have authority under the Illinois Municipal Code to remove any appointed officer when it is my opinion that the interests of the municipality demand removal. This letter serves as notice to you and Sanchez Daniels Hoffman that you're being removed as City Attorney, City of Blue Island, effective October 19, 2017. As Mayor, I am the Chief Executive Officer of the city. Among other things, I am required to ensure the laws and ordinances are faithfully executed. I am also responsible for overseeing all appointed officers and employees and ensuring their duties are performed properly. To perform my duties, I, from time to time, must obtain legal advice from a trusted source. At this time, due to political infighting at the city and the city attorney's political affiliations, I cannot be assured that the legal advice is coming from a trusted source.
That's a violation of civil rights, federal law.
Oh, please.
It is also extremely important that
The same reason. Political affiliation. It's like not hiring me because of my sexual orientation. Or I'm a
So, Mayor, you're opening this up to a lawsuit for violating her civil rights,
No.
and you're opening this up to another lawsuit because we have a contract with Sanchez Daniels Hoffman
No.
that you're supposed to execute or let her know 60 days. We have a contract with them, and you're not following the law. You're an attorney, you know better.
Infighting is not the same as being discriminatory.
You asked to read a letter. That was a letter that was written by the mayor to the law firm that represent the city. It was a letter removing them. The letter was written to them, for them. And I think what you have is that letter was written to the lawyers, for them, by the mayor. And you have it in your possession, obviously.
No business.
But that is a perfect example of what the mayor is referring to. That is- If I may,
I'm not addressing you, Mr. Horvath. I'm not addressing you, Mr.
I'm just
Horvath.
trying to respond to you and inform you
He's got the floor.
that when you start to talk about litigation and lawsuits, the attorneys were appointed. They are appointed pursuant to statute, and there is a process under the statute for removal. those things are not discretionary, those are mandatory procedures. And there is no contract with the law firm of Sanchez and Daniels. Sanchez and Daniels, in one of their letters to the mayor shortly after they were appointed, indicated that the appointment was at will. Okay, at will.
Sure. And is that,
At will means-
is there not something signed by Randy and the
Randy by
mayor?
me. Now, please, I'm just addressing you.
Quit interrupting.
I'm just addressing you. Please, I listen to you. Now, please just listen to me.
Well, I never got to finish. You just started talking before I got to finish what I was going to say.
At will means exactly what it sounds like, but they are appointed and they can be removed by statute. And that's the process. And the statute, even in the letter by saying we're at will, that kind of eliminates the statutory process, which requires transparency, which is what the mayor has done by giving you his report and bringing it to you tonight. It's a transparent process, it's required by state law, and that's what he's doing. And to allude to lawsuits, to refer to a confidential letter which was not,
Right.
exactly,
It's-
is probably inappropriate.
Well, it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate what he's doing.
Okay?
It's inappropriate what the mayor's doing. It is inappropriate. The water, he already wants to increase the water 30%. Our water's gone up 60% now because of his actions.
Oh, because it's not
We
yours.
have a
You
motion and
voted
a
for
second
it.
on the floor, and I think
They
it's-
were the ones that wanted the water.
Roll call. I have a question on the motion, just to clarify.
It's been clarified. What's the name?
Comment, yes, sir.
So right now, the motion and the second is for the appointment of the city attorney. All right. I would suggest our council members vote no, so we can continue this discussion.
Roll call.
Carr.
No.
Carr, no. Pittman.
No.
Pittman, no. Slattery.
No,
Slattery, no. Poulos.
we went to the restroom.
Johnson.
Yes.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
No.
Fausto, no. Mulatto.
No.
Mulatto, no. Vieta. Vieta, aye. Rita.
No. Natural.
Rita, no. Donahue.
No.
Donahue, no. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Barrymore.
Aye.
Barrymore, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. Alderman Poulos. No. Heard the motion, okay. Eight noes and five, or excuse me, 6.
Motion fails in pursuant to the authority given me to mayors by the state law to make temporary appointments at this time. I'm making a temporary appointment of the law firm of Ogleston Historic LTD to serve as city attorneys under Chapter 65 Illinois Compiled Statutes 5-3.1-30-5, parentheses D, end of parentheses. Next, we have Halloween hours.
I have a question. Point of order. Question. I need to be recognized. As an elected official, I need to be recognized.
It's right.
Halloween hours will be
I need
3
to be recognized.
p.m. until 7 p.m.
I need to be recognized. I'm an elected official representing 3,500 constituents in the city of Blue Island. I need to be recognized and answered.
Please.
I will recognize you under committee reports. Or
No, I have a question right now under mayor's business.
What is it related to under my business?
Same business we've been discussing.
Oh,
I
gee.
make a motion to hire Sanchez Daniels to work for the city of Blue Island to maintain our contract. Make a
No.
motion to hire Sanchez Daniels
No
on a
contract.
contractual basis.
It's
Second.
an appropriate motion, I've already said it. I've already hired Olson and Sturgill in this appointment.
And I would say, council members, we're not getting recognized by the chair, we should abandon the meeting. So there's no quorum in the meeting, and no business can be carried forward then. Since we're not being recognized and given our point of view or even thought. We got a notification at 4 p.m. today about our new attorney, 4 p.m., before a 7 o'clock meeting. What kind of transparency is that? We operate in business where we send things back and forth between committee, and at least try to send dates and times within weeks. But 4 p.m., not even, 4:15 or whatever it was. I'm personally hurt with this. It's very hard for me to say these things in the government, okay? Now I'm leaving this meeting. because this is just a slap in the face to an elected official of the city of Blue Island.
All you people walk. All you people walk. You're all elected officials. Shame on you all. Shame on all of you. Shame on all of you. You're lucky next time.
They don't have respect, Ross. Executive order is legislative. They're equal. Yes, they are equal. Talk to Mr. Trump about it.
Are you really serious?
See if they can. Most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Talk about children. They don't get their children. They don't get their way. You don't get their candy. Bunch of babies. You want those seats filled in? Can I have 17?
Again, let's go to number 3, Halloween hours. It's all agreeable. We do have a quorum from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. Is that agreeable by the council for Halloween? Yes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Then we move on to the mayor's announcements. We do have Dr. Justin Antos to the podium, please. I would like to acknowledge, again, the Director of Bands and Orchestras from Eisenhower High School, as well as the Eisenhower administration and the band students for their many achievements this school year. They have participated in multiple competitions this year and have won numerous awards in all their divisions and also earned many caption awards. Again, I want to acknowledge Dr. Justin Antos, the band and orchestra director, Eric Breseño, the Eisenhower principal, and last but not least, the band members. Every year, the Auburn University Graduate School awards up to 3 doctoral students with the Distinguished Dissertation Award. Auburn University chose to recognize 3 published dissertations between the years 2016 and 2017. In the field of fine arts, Dr. Antos was eligible and earned the very first Distinguished Dissertation Award to come from Auburn University's Department of Music. We would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of you on the hard work everyone has done this year, but especially Dr. Antos, for whom I quote, "Giving his students the experiences he never had in high school, and makes it known to his students that there's a rich culture of musical tradition," end of quote. As the mayor of the city of Blue Island, the council, we would like to recognize the Director of Eisenhower Bands and Orchestras, Dr. Justin Antos, for his efforts. Dr. Antos, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. I won't take much of your time. I just wanted to say I've been at Eisenhower now for 9 years, and never in my professional career have I had the opportunity to work with so many genuine, kind-hearted, hard-working people like I do at Eisenhower. I don't live in Blue Island, but I've devoted a lot of my life here for the last 9 years. And the students, the administration, not only at Eisenhower, but also Community High School District 218, have been nothing but supportive. And I want to thank everybody here tonight for all of their support of the fine arts program, specifically the band program at Eisenhower High School. We're proud to be part of this community, and we thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Thank you. Again, I just want to make a note that we still have a quorum. Alderman Rita, Alderman Donahue, Alderman Carr, Alderman Pittman, Alderman Bellato, and Alderman Slattery have left, but we do still have a quorum. City Clerk's business.
Just need a motion to approve a request from the Blue Island Park District to have trunk or treat event on Sunday, October 29th from 3 p.m. till 5 p.m.
We have a motion by Alderman Osling, second by Alderman Viera. Any questions? Go ahead.
Where?
They're going to close out Highland Street. They're going to close out Highland Memorial Park.
Anything else?
Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Fairwell.
Aye.
Fairwell, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 8 ayes.
Thank you very much. Any bids?
No bids, Your Honor.
City Treasurer is not here, so no report. City Attorney? Report Committee, Development Committee?
Yes, Your Honor, the Community Development Committee met on October 19th. The meeting was called to order at 7:17 p.m. Present were Alderman Hawley, Bellato, Osling, and Thompson. Absent were Alderman Frausto, Johnson, and Rita. Also present were Commander Sisk, Abdullah Alayafa, and Carol Pace Green. Under public comment, Mrs. Green expressed concern about some of the coaching and steering, which she spoke about this morning, earlier today. Under new business, the following new signs were considered: Thornton's Gas Station, 12052 Southwestern Avenue. The designs and renderings of the proposed new signage were reviewed. It was moved by Alderman Osling and second by Alderman Bellato to approve the signage as presented. All were in favor, motion passed. Blue Island Fast Food, 3196 West 127th Street. The designs and renderings of the proposed new signage were reviewed. It was moved by Alderman Bellato and second by Alderman Thompson to approve the new signage as presented. All were in favor, motion passed. Oxford Auto Insurance, 12125 Southwestern Avenue. Designs and renderings of the proposed new signage were reviewed. After discussion, it was moved by Alderman Osling and seconded by Alderman Bellato to approve the sign on the front of the building. On the south side of the building, the sign stating, starting with the words SR22 was not approved to be put up. The Oxford Insurance sign on that side of the building was approved. On the north side of the building, the sign was approved, but it was requested that it be put below the subway sign that is currently on that wall. All were in favor, motion passed. Under Building and Planning Report for September 2017, revenues for the month of September were $55,452.41. Total revenue to date for 2017 is $492,267.16. There were 402 residential inspections and 117 housing court summons issued. Total housing court fines issued in September was $46,000. A report of residential actions by the building department was reviewed, and a status report of business issues were also reviewed. A discussion about the lighting and signage in the business district follows. A letter will be drafted and sent out to businesses explaining the sign ordinance and process for making changes to signage and other improvements, especially about obtaining proper permits. We would also mention the facade grant program. It was also discussed that all signs and awnings come through community development. Business district. Funds received in 2017 through August of 2017 is $434,628.49. The expenditures for 2017 from the fund are $142,157.40. They include consulting expense, engineering expenses, the purchase of banners for Western, and a sales tax rebate. The balance in the business development district fund was $548,104.70 at the end of August. 10% of the funds received are allocated to the facade grant program. At this time, at the end of August, the balance was $89,962.40. 4 grant applications were reviewed. DeMassey's Catering, Inc., 11915 Southwestern, presented a grant package. It was reviewed by the committee. There were some questions that would be relayed to DeMassey's. It was moved by Alderman Osling and second by Alderman Thompson to send it to Finance Committee. All were in favor, motion passed. Flowers by Kathy, 13022 Southwestern, presented a grant package. There were concerns about some of the work proposed in the grant. It was moved by Alderman Osling and second by Alderman Thompson to table the grant to get more information. Rock Island Public House, 13328 Old Western, presented a bid proposal. A formal grant application was presented, and the bid was high. A suggestion from someone else to make a bid was made. We will get more information and consider it once a complete package is presented. A proposal to pay for half of a non-compliant sign at Blue Island Coin Laundry so that it would be removed was considered. The sign was mistakenly given a permit to put up a non-compliant sign. An agreement was reached by the city staff that the city would pay for half of the cost of the sign to have it removed. The cost is $3,000. It was moved by Alderman Osling and second by Alderman Thompson to approve the payment from the Business Development District. This will be passed to Finance for approval. It was also requested that all signage and facade changes be brought to Community Development Committee for approval. Alderman concerns, questions were asked about Bread and Bottle being under new ownership and whether or not they are selling packaged liquor now before having a liquor license. They are currently open. Me Homestead is now serving food. Questions as to the new ownership and other issues were discussed, as well as a place on Mozart. There being no further business, it was moved by Alderman Thompson and second by Alderman Osling to adjourn. Motion was passed, the meeting was adjourned at 8:26. Our next meeting is Thursday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Finance Committee?
Finance meeting was called to order October 17th at 7:02. Members present, Alderman Hawley, Alderman Vieira, Farnwell, Thompson, and Alderman Osling. Absent was Alderman Frosto. Also present was Deputy Finance Director Lori Brown, Director John Rita, Treasurer Carmen Bellato, and Consultant Mr. Robert Reschlicki. In public was Bob Manthai, Pam Castro, Carol DePace Green, and Commander Jason Slattery. Under public comment, Carol DePace Green asked, where did Mr. Meyer get his information on city rates he referred to? And Bob Manthai asked, what is the name of the firm Mr. Dave Meyer works for? These questions will be answered at the special meeting on Thursday. I need an approval of the payroll for October 6th in the amount of $376,403.47. A motion by Alderman Hawley, second by Alderman Farnwell. Motion carried. I'm making a motion to City Council to accept.
We have a motion, go second by Alderman Thompson. Any questions? Not?
Excuse me,
Yeah,
Mayor.
go ahead.
It's not really a question, but sort of a statement. And no disrespect to Alderman Osling or Treasurer Bellato, but I don't think I could vote yes to none of those reports until we have a forensic audit for the things that's been happening and has happened in the last few years.
Roll call, please.
Close.
Aye.
Close. Aye. Johnson.
No.
Johnson, no. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Farnwell.
Aye.
Farnwell, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 7 ayes.
Okay, the next thing is an arbitration.
Alderman, let me just have this comment, just to make sure that everything's paid in payroll. I'm going to vote also on this one.
Oh, okay.
With all due respect,
Vargas.
aye.
Vargas, aye.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Arbitration settlement payout for the police. This was for 2004, and it was paid in October 13th, 2017, in the amount of $46,764.86. A motion by Alderman Farnwell, second by Alderman Hawley. Motion carried. And I make a motion to City Council for approval.
Got a motion. You have a second by Alderman Poulos. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
No.
Johnson, no. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Farnwell.
Aye.
Farnwell, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. Vargas.
Aye.
Vargas, aye. 8.
Again, I'm voting just so you know, so that the bills get paid. Thank you again. Again, Alderman, I recognize your position. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Approval of manual check on 10/3/2017 in the amount of $2,488.75. This was a payout on property damage to a resident's car by a public works truck, and I make that approval in the form of a motion.
The motion got second by Alderman Vieira. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Poulos.
Aye.
Poulos, aye. Johnson.
No.
Johnson, no. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye.
payable dated 10/18/2017 in the amount of $374,776.88. A motion by Alderman Farnwell, second by Alderman Thompson. Motion carried. I make a motion to City Council to accept.
We have a motion, second by Alderman Thompson. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Pulos.
Aye.
Pulos, aye. Johnson.
Nope.
Johnson, no. Crowell.
Aye.
Crowell, aye. Gata.
Aye.
Gata, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Fairwell.
Aye.
Fairwell, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Aye. Vargas.
Aye, with the same reasons that I stated before.
Yes.
Approval of Robinson Engineering to oversee demolition of 11914 Vincennes, the old Montel building, in the amount of $15,000. A motion by Alderman Vieira, second by Alderman Farnwell. Motion carried. I make a motion for approval to City Council.
We have a motion, and we're going to give this one, Alderman Thompson. You're going to have it. The second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Pulos.
Aye.
Pulos, aye. Johnson.
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 I'm sorry. I was discussing something. I'm sorry. No.
Crowell.
Aye.
Crowell, aye. Gata.
Aye.
Gata, aye. Hawley.
Aye.
Hawley, aye. Fairwell.
Aye.
Fairwell, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. Vargas.
Aye.
Okay. We had a discussion on the consideration of a new business incentive at 12625 Western Avenue, the former Walgreens building. A presentation was given to the committee by consultant Robert Reshlicki, and a motion to bring Mr. Reshlicki to City Council to give a presentation on this property. We had an Alderman Vieira, yes. I took a roll call vote. Alderman Vieira, yes. Alderman Hawley, yes. Alderman Farnwell, yes. Alderman Thompson, yes. Motion carried to bring Mr. Reshlicki to City Council.
Thank you.
And Mr. Reshlicki, I want to apologize. I asked you to come thinking we were going to have a full City Council to listen to your presentation, and I'm sorry for that.
That is, no apology is necessary.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I just want to give an overview of what the city asked us to do and what we had presented as something for the City Council to consider. The developer is proposing a Sunfresh Foods. Everybody hear that okay?
Yes.
For the corner of the former Walgreens. Based on our examination of their financial data, they had a preliminary market study done. A couple of things came to our attention. One is with the closing of the Ultra in Cal Park, there is a market opportunity for that site. I mean, heretofore, in talking with Jason, previously, the brokers for complete retail redevelopment of that site was very difficult. Given the state of the marketplace for retail, again, nothing on the location itself, just as it relates to retail. I think, that's an opportunity for the city to consider. However, there's always, the strings attached, so to speak. 4 basic components of the proposal were brought by the developer. One was the consideration of a Class 8, which the city would have to approve in order for Cook County to grant that for the project. Secondly was sales tax sharing. Third was consideration of waiver of building permits. And lastly, some general support as it relates to any future, let's say, grant assistance or city assistance as it relates to reviewing government programs for any environmental remediation. Again, it's not an ironclad promise. It was more along the lines that you're a municipality and you would have access to some of these programs as opposed to the private sector. In our analysis of the proposal, first we found that the overall request is not unreasonable as it relates to the rate of return on the project, given the current borrowing rates and rates of return for equity investment. The amounts that were proposed seem to fit in with, again, based on the numbers that we saw, seem to fit in with the general marketplace requirements. Secondly, that the Class 8, if granted, even though you would be deferring tax revenues in the future for the 12 years in which the Class 8 is in place, you'd be no worse off than you are now. The current owner has been protesting the taxes down due to the closure of the Walgreens operation, and the Class 8, if they would pop back up, it's our estimation that the Class 8 would come down to about the same levels that you are now. So there's a neutral as it relates to the Class 8. On the sales tax sharing, what we proposed was a modification to the developer's request. Rather than grant the full $600,000 over the course of the 12 years, over the course of the Class 8, we recommended the city get some money first. A base would be set up around $15,000, so the city gets money first for any services that would need, and then you would split the amounts 50-50. Now, this does not get him to the full $600,000, but part of this is performance-based. If the store does better, they have the opportunity to recoup that. Plus, when we did some analysis of possible enterprise zone savings under the enterprise zone incentives, the use of both the 50% of the waiver of permit fees and possible building material exemptions for sales tax would seem it's possible to get them up to his number. And lastly, again, from the standpoint of the city's general support as it relates to review of any kind of requirements for environmental remediation, that seems to be something you could do without any exposure or liability to the city. And again, we'll review that with the city attorney. But all four of those things, I think, are responsive to the developer's request to the city, and I think would put you in a position to say, we've done what we can. However, in order to activate those, the city, let's say, incentives, 5 things would have to happen. One, they would have to show a grocery lease for 10 to 15 years with a bona fide grocery operator for that site. Secondly, they made representations to us about $5.5 million of both lender and equity investment or financings. The city would want to see signed commitments for all of those in place. Thirdly, we'd want to see property control, that they have evidence of property control for whatever period of time that's needed in order to assemble the project, these other components. There'd have to be environmental remediation, phase 1 or phase 2 in place, acceptable to the city. And I think their lenders, you're not asking for anything different that their lenders would ask for. And then a general contractor statement that validates the cost that they have as set forth in their proposal. I think Alderman Hawley also made the suggestion about benchmarks as it relates to timing or criteria for timing. And I think, again, that's something that could be discussed with them, and that would be a good idea to put in. The city's response, because I think this should be open-ended, whether it's 90 days or 120 days. If the proposed applicant cannot get their act together, there should be no reason why the city stays out there with them, but you have the ability to see if anybody else is interested in that site. So that's really our summary. I think you could be responsive to them, but our only caution would be that there's conditions precedent, that you see that the deal is for real before there's any commitment. And all these commitments by the city, I have to point out, are all performance-based. There's no investment up front by the city. All the dollars, the $5.5 million that's required to bring that store back to operation would be provided by the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Does council have any questions, Mr. Ridgely?
Alderman, go ahead.
It's not really a question, but I also just wanted to make sure that, the building that they build actually looks like the building that.
We'll put everything in the grocery, on the grocery list, so that would be in any communication back from the city.
So my understanding is right now, the real estate taxes are about as low as they would be after redevelopment.
That's what we
would not lose any.
That's what we look at. Again, it's an estimate. We don't control the
Right.
assessor's office, but in our experience, and we've been doing this for a long time, The protest, because of vacancy, brought it down a certain level. It's our understanding when the building gets full up, it's been the practice of the assessor to bring it back to the previous level. And so right now, when we applied the lower assessment rate, it pretty much brought it back from that higher level back to where they are for the vacancy. It's almost a dollar for dollar trade-off.
And while we are giving some sales tax back to them, right now, the spot is not.
It's not generating
sales tax at all.
anything. Right.
And it's been empty for a number of years, and there's been many unsuccessful attempts to get that property redeveloped over the years.
That's correct.
And so, this, to me, seems like a good step in the right direction to get that property back on the tax rolls in many more ways.
And there's job creation too.
Right.
Yeah, there's job creation.
How many jobs? I forget how many jobs.
I think there's a range of 30 to 50 jobs.
30 to 50.
You know, some will be part-time, some will be full-time. But again, there's job creation associated with the store opening again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you need a motion, right? Did you move that for the rest? Huh?
No, this was just
It's just a
discussion.
discussion.
It was a resolution, okay. So it's not a resolution. All right.
There was a,
There's one other item.
oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
I'll get to that. Okay, there was also discussion on the proposal of a billboard at 127th and Western Avenue to advertise the Christmas parade, the New Year's Eve, and shop in Blue Island. No action was taken on this. Okay, no further business at that time. The meeting was adjourned at 8 o'clock, and our next meeting is November 7th. However, I need to have a motion to approve number 6 on the agenda, which is a resolution authorizing the capital improvement, demolition, and economic development project agreement from Cook County Community Development Block Grant. This is the block grant in the amount of $200,000 for Longwood Avenue from 119th to 123rd, and I need a motion to accept.
Got a motion? We're going to give this back over to Alderman Thompson.
Is that a question? Yes. So it does also, if I understand it correctly, within this, it obligates the city also to a match.
Yes, it's a match by us, and that will come out of the IFA bond.
Any other questions? Not roll call.
Willis.
Aye.
Willis, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Polly.
Aye.
Polly, aye. Farinwald.
Aye.
Farinwald, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson. Thompson, aye.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Alderman?
That's all.
Thank you. Public Health and Safety Committee, any report? She's not here. That's fine, we'll move on. Municipal Services Committee?
Yes, sir. We had a, I'm sorry.
Municipal.
Excuse me, sorry. No, just.
She's not here.
All right, number 4. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I was one of the ones that voted no last time for the ordinance restricting portions of certain streets for handicap parking at 233335 Oak Street, 2642 Grunwald Street, 2520 Union Street, and 2155 120th Place in the city of Blue Island, County of Cook, state of Illinois, and providing penalties for violation thereof. I'd like to move to approve those.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second by Alderman Farinwald. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Willis.
Aye.
Willis, aye. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Fausto.
Aye.
Fausto, aye. Vieta.
Aye.
Vieta, aye. Polly.
Aye.
Polly, aye. Farinwald.
Aye.
Farinwald, aye. Osling.
Aye.
Osling, aye. Thompson.
Aye.
Thompson, aye. 8 ayes.
Thank you. Judiciary Committee?
All right, thank you. Judiciary Committee met Monday, October 16th, called to order at 6:01 p.m. Present were Alderman Farinwald, Pittman, Poulos, Slattery, and Vieira. Also present were Director Rita and Commander Slattery. There was no public comment. There was a discussion about handicap parking. Alderman Farinwald and Vieira expressed their concerns that proper consultation and notice had not been given to the Judiciary Committee when a decision was made to put all handicap parking requests under the sole jurisdiction of the Municipal Services. Director Rita explained that this action was taken to streamline the application process for handicap parking applicants, and that it would allow for faster implementation of approved applications by Public Works Director Procedural who attends municipal services meetings. The consensus of the Judiciary Committee is that this process should be handled solely by this Municipal Services Committee. Director Rita also suggested that because many residents do not request that handicap parking restrictions be removed when they are no longer needed, that the committee might want to consider enacting a requirement for annual renewals of handicap designations. The committee agreed that this is worth reviewing and requested that the city attorney provide guidance for future discussion. There were no alderman concerns. There was a motion to adjourn by Alderman Pittman, seconded by Alderman Poulos. Voice vote was carried 6:20 p.m. The next meeting of the Judiciary Committee will be Monday, November 20th, 6 p.m.
Thank you very much. Any aldermanic announcements or comments? Alderman?
Yes, Mayor, I got questions. We've got 4-Star Auto Parts and Horace Mann School of School District 130. They are in Blue Island, right?
What address is it again?
I'm not sure of the address of Horace Mann's, Claire Boulevard, pretty much.
Robbins. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Horace Mann's in Robbins.
Horace Mann is in Robbins.
Yes.
What about 4-Star Auto Parts? Okay, because I was asking because they pay the water bills to Robbins. So I wasn't sure about Horace Mann.
All right, we'll check on that.
Because of School District 130, was it Blue Island or what? And have anybody been able to get a copy of the Park District and City contract, as I asked of the last council meeting for, not only for myself, but for the other aldermen as well?
I'll work on that and get that to you this week.
Okay. And Mayor, did any of the new hires come through you or as council, as stated a few months ago?
No.
Do they supposed to come through you?
Yes.
Okay. The reason that I'm voting no to the Treasury report again and the Financial Committee report is because I think that with all the things going on, finding checks in drawers, whatever, we need to get this ship right. We need a forensic audit, find out where the leak's at before we start asking people to come out their pockets again. You know, that's just like me laying on the operating table, knowing something's wrong with me. Doctor, just start cutting. You know, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, and you know, I just wanted to make a quick statement to you. You know, with certain aspects going on here in the city, I'm at a loss for words with how certain things are going on. Bozo shows that we're producing here, second to fourth Tuesdays of the month. You know, we're all here to make this town better. I don't think these positions put bread on our table. In the effort that we all put in here, I would just ask that that you respect all of us here and that you communicate with us. You know, today was a big change. You know, when you make these decisions to make some changes in appointments, and you know, just give us the respect of communicating with us. You know, no call, no heads up, or barely found out on the drive over here, you know, what your decision was going to be. You know, I have much respect for Mr. Horvath and their law firm, but we all want to direct, or we all have our own views in which way we want to move forward and what we would do if we were in a certain position. Me personally, today's change feels like we're going back to 2011. You know, we're gonna go with something, go with a law firm that we've never had, and then you're gonna remove any influence that you so state that's happening, and affiliation or issues that you're having up there that all of us here in council really don't even know what's going on up there. We just know it's chaos, and if you're sitting here in the audience, you know, it's pretty clear to see that there's a lot of head bumping going on here. So you know, to me, it's gonna be a long 3 years.
3.5.
3.5. Let's work to make it, all of us work together, keep progressing the city, and move forward, because I'll tell you what, you know, I don't really talk about my personal issues or all of us here, but I have somewhere more important to be right now than to sit here and deal with this bullshit. So
do I.
excuse my language, but
So do I.
we need you to step up your communication and respect all of us.
I do.
Even the ones that walked out, even the ones that were here. I could have walked out when everybody else walked out and go where I need to be right now. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
I would like to thank the mayor for the improvements that finally coming into the 5th Ward. And I'm very happy about that. And I'm sure all the constituents in the 5th Ward should be very happy about there is going to be some change in the 5th Ward, which was previously the 7th Ward. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your very reasoned and excellent comments. I agree with your perspective. I'm new to this. Personally, this vote tonight was one of the more miserable decisions I've ever had to make. I have found since I've come on to City Council that it's very rewarding in so many ways. I really enjoy working with the city administration. I think we have an excellent team in place. And I would not want my vote to be interpreted as feeling otherwise. I saw this as an important moment to get the city moving. It was not a pleasant vote to have to make. I think it was necessary. And I agree, Mr. Mayor, I really want to see us now pulled together. I want all the aldermen, even the ones who left, shown complete respect. We all work for the city residents. I don't work for anybody else. And that's who we need to keep in mind.
Thank you very much.
Well, I would like to echo everything that was said, but my prayers are with the Prosper family right now. I do hope that that we can start moving forward, and I do think that communication needs to be improved all the way around with everybody. I do want to also just say, on a totally different subject, our final fundraiser for the parade is on Saturday, November 11th, at the Eagles bowling alley, and it's Bowling for Lights. So if you can find your way over to the Eagles Hall on Saturday night, beginning at 7 p.m. For Bowling for Lights. It helps raise money to pay for the day and all the events that are happening on December 2nd, which is the light parade.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? If not, need a motion? Alderman Poole, second Alderman Thompson, all in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone.